Every day, all of us yearn to get something out. All of us yearn to be better than what they were yesterday. Every day, we have a dream we want to achieve. We want to be the best. We want to lose that weight. We want to gain that muscle. We want to have that wealth and very many other things. But if somebody was just to give you that, there is a wand, there is a magic wand you can play around, you can use it, and boop, you are successful. How will it sound like? Unfortunately, I'm not here today to actually give you the magic wand, but I want to give you a formula. This is based on a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear on how you can actually work out on a long term approach towards your success. And what is this? It's the power of improving 1% daily. And I know somebody will ask, 1% improvement. But the reality is, small changes brings massive impact. I want us to learn how daily tiny gains lead to extraordinary success. But before we do this, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to appreciate you for being here today. The channel is Troy Teach Patrick Egon. I encourage you to join us. Let's grow together. Remember to subscribe, make a comment, share to your networks, and let's all watch and learn something together. Honestly, I make these videos because I want to impact the world. I want to change you to be a better version of yourself. So if you're ready, let's go and see what 1% can actually do. Welcome back to the session. And as I told you, this discussion is actually inspired by a book that is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a book you will need to read to push yourself to the next level, one step at a time, or call it 1% at a time. Let's start with the mathematics part of this discussion. I hope you have your calculator, open your phones, and let me take you back to high school for those of us who learned the power of in high school. And the reality is, while small improvements don't seem to matter in the short hand, in the short moment, they really actually matter over time. They actually determine how successful you will be or how a failure you'll be. This is the reality. Some of us, we see successful people and we want to know what actually was the background. What have these people been doing so that they have actually accommodated or they have actually accumulated such kind of results. And you realize one thing that building wealth, building anything actually takes decades. But it's about decades of doing things correctly. I've been speaking to people, and one thing I've shared with them is sometimes this also applies to you. Sometimes you find yourself, you find a family mate, you find a course mate, you find a colleague who have actually degraded in their life, and you wonder what actually happened. I want you to think of that employee. Can you be able to see that colleague? This guy was actually having a very bright future, then just regresses one step at a time. And that is where the mathematics comes in. So, what do you think 1% better means at the end of the year? If you want to do the mathematics, I want you to quickly do this. You start from 1%, you start from 1, you are improving 1%. So, what do? Take 1%, you divide it by 100, you have 0.01. So you have 1 plus 0.01 powered by 365, and the result is 37.78. If you are to do the same results, if you are to do the same mathematics for a person going to the negative side of life, that is 1% worse every day, you realize This guy will have 1 minus 0.01, then you power 0.99 by 365 days, and what you will get is actually 0.03%. This will be better illustrated by what you'll have in the next presentation. But that is the reality of life. Sometimes you wonder what actually happened to a particular person, but the answer is in their daily habits. They lost it 1% daily. He became an alcoholic 1% daily. He became addicted to that particular thing 1% daily. He lost up 1% daily. And the contrary is also true. This person exercised 1% better daily. This person read 2 pages, 10 pages better daily. And that is what is the secret behind this. You can actually see our curve from this illustration. Look at the power of those tiny habits. 1% better every day means that 7.78% better at the end of the year. And if you are doing it worse every day, it means you'll be at 0.03% of your life. Imagine this is a battery you're charging. Imagine you are, let's say, a chicken farmer and you are improving yourself 1% daily. So imagine you had today 6 chicken, for example. That 7.78 better means even if you take a whole value of 40, 40 times 6, it means you'll have 240 chickens at the end of the year. If you are saving an amount, improving daily, that is what I'm trying to tell you. So take whatever you have today, whatever habits you want, whatever wealth, whatever you want to achieve, and say, this number, I have X today, you multiply by that 7.78%, and you will, 7.78, and you will understand the impact we are talking about. And how did you gain things? It is only by doing 1% better. And I've asked you down there what happens when you do 1% worse daily. And you can actually see how the curve goes. The curves are actually exponential because they tell you initially the results you don't see it, but when the results rise, they go to infinity. And at the same time, when the results start accumulating for the negative results, you can actually see what happens. So, Atomic Habits, generally by James Clear, emphasizes on this aspect that small and consistent improvements lead to exponential growth over time. You may not see it immediately. You may not see that thing you want to do. Let's say you want to learn a skill. You may not see the results in the first 10 days. You may not see the results in the first 3 months. But let me tell you for free, when actually the results start accumulating, you will gain exponentially. So be patient, build it one by one. I always use an example when I speak to people of if you had been given a chance of holding in one hand 10 million and holding in the other hand 50 shillings, which actually doubles itself every day, which one will you take? And some of us take the 50 shillings, some of us take the 10 million. For those of us who take the 10 million, by day 21, you are actually gone past you because these 50 shillings is gaining double every day. Day one, 50 shillings. Day 200. Day three, 200. Day four, you talk about 400. And that is how things actually go. Understand the matrix, understand the formulas, and it will actually work for you. So, from our illustration, I think as we speak right now, you actually understand why small changes matter. So, those tiny changes, they are actually the ones which will bring the big difference. One of my videos is how you can retire with 20 million shillings by saving correctly and in an easy manner. And you have realized one thing. For those of us who have watched the video, if you have, in case you have not watched it, remember you can actually access it from my videos. Just by saving 2,500 shillings with an interest of 16%, for the next 30 years, you'll actually have your 21 million. How? Because of the power of compounding interest. So small habits compound over time, just like interest in those savings. Success is not about transforming the big things you may think about, but it's actually about making the small steps, making the small effort daily in a consistent manner. Many a times I get people and I ask them why they don't read books, and they tell me they don't have time. It's okay. Let's agree. Let's agree on this. You don't have time. But do you think you will miss time to read 10 books and 10 pages in a day? How many minutes in a day do you really need to read 10 pages in a day? And if you consistently read 10 pages in a day for the next 365 days, that means you're talking about 3,650 pages of books. On average, a book will take 100 to 120 pages. What are we talking about? We are talking about you reading 30 books in a year. See the transformation just by doing things small but consistently. So today, stop making excuses and start. The problem with us is that we want to see the destination more than the journey. And that's why James Clear is telling us you should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than your current results. Work on your systems today, and they'll actually benefit you tomorrow. And because of watching this, I know you're saying, I wish I'd done it earlier. I wish I'd done this. But just as an example, I want to give you about planting a seedling today, planting that seed, that tiny, small seed, about 30 centimeters, 25 centimeters, will transform its form in the next 5 years. It is said that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the other best time is today. So let's take away some things. One is that small gains build momentum. And many of us actually just need momentum in our life. The moment you have started building one step at a time, everything else comes in place. And the alchemist tells us that whatever you do, whenever you do, and so much need it, nature will conspire to give it to you. Initially, the plateau of latent potential means results will not be immediate, but don't worry. While that line is not so much showing results, everything else is happening at the background. Things are coming up. And importantly, we said, as the good habits are growing daily, 1% better, bad habits as well compound. So ensure you are doing the correct things. Let's do this illustration. Imagine you're that pilot or you're that aeroplane, and what has it done? It has just adjusted its course 1 degree from your point of departure. Instead of following the correct trajectory, it has just diverted 1 degree. Initially, the difference might not be big, but by the time you're landing, you will land in a different city. We have come a long way, and now it's your turn. I want you to go and apply that 1% rule in your life. I want you to be better. That is 7 times better at the end of the year. And I told you, if you want to work out, start with one push up a day, and the momentum will carry you forward. You'll find yourself doing 5, 10, 20 at the end of the time. So, what do you need to do so that you can apply this 1% rule? Start small. Pick one tiny improvement daily. Pick that, the simplest you think about. Then you grow the momentum. Picking a habit, picking something else. Stay consistent. Habits are built through repetition, it's not intensity. It's not about a burst of moment, a burst of intensity, then you go off. No, build it daily. Focus on system, not the ultimate goals. Build, build them. Build you. Think about you being successful. Think about the person you want to be and start being that person. Goals are the results, and systems are how you get there. So build your systems. Always track your progress. Remember, we can only improve what we can measure. And finally, make it easy. Make it obvious. Why? You need to reduce friction. In human nature, we are lazy. We don't want change. And everything in nature is like that. I'm an electrical engineer, and what we learn is electricity flows from a point of high potential to a point of low potential because it wants to rest. The reason why you are shocked when you touch a wire is because electricity wants the shortest way to the ground. And that is even the nature of us human beings. We want the least path. That is why we enjoy when we sleep. So make it easy for yourself to transform. Ensure that you are reducing the friction as much as possible. So let's start it today. Pick that small habit you want to improve. Tell me that habit. Write them down. Reduce friction, as I said. So, how do you do that? Make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Do you know why? When you read deep to the book, you will realize that there is a process of changing the bad habits into the good habits. You must have a replacement. Track progress and celebrate small wins. Write down things. Don't take things for granted. And importantly, keep showing up. The power is in consistency. It is the result of the small actions you take, but continuously. So wake up tomorrow, show up. If you want to join the 5 a.m. club, ensure you show up today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, consistently. That is the rule of the jungle. And being a good teacher, as I am, I want us to close the session with an assignment for you. I want you to write down in the comment section. And remember, if you have not subscribed, to do so and join the tribe and make it bigger. We want to transform people, and you are going to help us to do that. So, what is that one small improvement you can make today? If you are not courageous enough to write it down in the comment section, ensure you have written it down in that notebook. How can you make good habits easy and bad habits hard? Think about that. And if you want to improve by 1% daily, where will you be in 1 year? You remember the mathematics? Go back there. And our final thought is every great success story starts with tiny, consistent steps. The question is, will you take yours today or you have just watched this video? For me, I'll encourage you, let's get 1% better together. Let's transform this world to a better place than we found it. It's been a presentation taking you 1% better on a daily basis. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in this discussion. It's because of you that we do these videos. Let's grow together. Until next time, stay safe.